Beautiful day out. Really is.
Morning, Walt.
Morning, Bob. It's out here with a tractor. I'm not sure whether or not that was a completely successful operation, but we got here, so it was good enough, right?
Yeah.
Now that's a table with a bunch of different color saws. A little bit out of the norm for us. Well, at least for Bob.
Well, especially for Bob.
Yeah. 550. 262. Now this is your ultimate old man saw, right?
No. Well, this one is really. This is a G model. This has got the heated grips. Because it's January, and that's why this is here. And that's actually a real one.
A steel MS 660, or is it a steel 066?
It's a MS 660.
Well, that doesn't look like steel.
Well, it's not, because I did the body work with Farmer Tech parts.
Oh, okay.
Which consist of this part of the top cover, the top handle, the brake handle, and the muffler, because they were all just destroyed. And it really looked bad. I mean, it looked like it, got run over by a semi. But, then it was like, you looked at it close. So I haven't cut with it. I just fired it up. So I think everybody's going crazy with these Chinese 660s. So I brought actually one from Germany. Because it can't be too old, because it doesn't have those damn flippy caps.
Yeah, that's true.
So it can't be too old. But I fired up. It sounds good. It has a Husky deco in here. That was actually bent. Other than the deco, it's these parts I got from ArborTech. It was like $15 worth of parts to get this thing back together.
And you're not going to sell that to me.
So, huh?
You're not going to sell it to me.
Well, it's kind of promised to somebody. Who kind of said he was going to buy it, assuming it passed its test today.
Okay, well, let's say it doesn't pass the
So
test.
if it turns out there could be some kind of air leak or something, and maybe it's just not.
Not ready to go?
So.
And maybe you can land in the Hilltop Saw Shop.
Yeah.
See, I brought this one here. This one here has got some highway parts on it, and I need to run it.
And I should point out, because I know there'll be some guys cracking jokes here, I'm not going down a different path by any means here.
I don't think anybody would even question. This is completely impromptu and apropos.
Well, the theme here, we didn't really have a theme. This is kind of like the, if you look around, it's actually a beautiful day, and we've had like 3 or 4 weeks of absolute brutal cold, and this was kind of a January thaw. We saw the forecast. It's probably going to break 40 today. It's nice in the sun, and we just thought we'd get this thing going today, because how many times do we go, like, we can go till April and get shut out of the woods.
Yeah.
So, but what's funny about that, I was thinking, because I stopped Friday night, so I stopped at the bar. And of course I'm sitting with a couple of the loggers. One of the guys is the guy that's buying this in the 372.
That's assuming it passed the test today.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, we sit around all winter long. We've been burning wood, and waiting for a nice day to go out in the woods. And these guys are telling stories about what they've been dealing with for the past 4 weeks, going up into the woods where it's 10 or 15 below, and they're wondering about, is any of the equipment going to start? And then when they get to the woods, they got to start working right away. They can't like sit around here by the fire and drink coffee for 3 hours like we've been doing all morning long.
All morning.
So, a lot of times I talk about, and some guys get it, some guys don't. This, the real world versus the hobby world.
Oh my God!
This is the hobby world.
Yes.
This is recreation for us. Yeah, we're actually going to do some work today, but this is recreation. And but some of these guys that have to deal with this every day. They don't just sit around waiting for the weather to get nice to go in the woods. They got to go in about it. So, I think I got a lot more respect for them than I think they would have for us.
That's true.
So.
That's it's funny you bring that up, because I did a video a little while back on Matt Sawyer's world, and I can tell you right now he's out there cutting wood right now and loving it. But he was also out there cutting wood yesterday, and the day before.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've been trying to do is figure out how to get those. I know this is outside your world, but trying to get those to the point where I can put one in Matt's hands and have it survive. And it's not as easy as you think. He's got 2 now that have lasted for about a month and a half.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's good, but I had the one that we were using a different brand top end on, and it blew up twice. I put 2 bottom ends underneath that same top end. I'm not going to belabor that in the video. But that one there has got the Farmer Tech top end, but it's got a highway piston, muffler. It's got one of those Taiwanese crankshafts from HL Supply, stuff like that. The whole idea was to try to kind of up the quality level a little bit,
Yeah.
you know. And is it going to work? I don't know. Today we're going to give it a shot and see if it works. Well, Bob asked me what saws am I going to bring, and I said, you know, it's whatever's in the back of my pickup truck. And I'm not sure what the camera's seeing. Let me take a look. That works. And one of the saws that got a little video time before was my ultimate old man saw. Now Bob has his, but mine was this one right here. And I had to morph it a little bit. I put a Suji bar on it. And the Oregon bar was nice and light and stuff like that, but it was kind of flexible. Not that it's bad. You know, it's kind of like that joke about it doesn't make her a bad girl.
Yeah, I brought mine. I don't know if I'm really going to run this one today. Depends on what we get into. I'd like to run it against that, whatever that steel is.
Oh, that thing there?
What is that? One of the homeowner jobs? Like a 250 or something? 270? I don't really know. That's a 261?
That's a 261.
Really?
Yeah. This is the one, they got these lever deals where they rotate the lever right there.
What's that do?
That's the throttle.
Where's it hook into?
That's interesting. I don't know if I'll bring the camera in here. Basically, I was kind of thinking if I can get it going today, we can run it against the 550. But one of the things about these, put my glasses on so I can see what I'm showing you. Bob asked a question, so it gives me latitude to give you the answer. That throttle operating rod sits right inside that loop down by my thumb. So it's the metal on plastic, it's a bearing. And when it rotates, it's supposed to push up on that plastic right there. And
it rotates up?
Yeah. I mean, I can put it back in there. I'm trying to get the handle off. And you can see how it works by, yeah, like that. You can see how that rotates in that plastic down in there.
Yeah.
And it's an auto tune. It's like,
so that's not physically.
It just pushes. Here's what it looks like here.
Well, I guess there's different ways to do stuff.
Yeah, check this out though. Again, you got plastic on steel right there too.
Is this the same thing they do on those 291s and 391s?
Yeah.
They're doing that on a Pro Saw?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it works.
Yeah. I mean, there's one guy, and if you listen to him online, you think these things are the second coming. You know? But, hey, you know.
They run pretty good, though.
They do.
I mean, I tried one of the first ones when it first came out. Wasn't that bad. I mean, it was closer to the mark than the first 362.
Yeah.
Because they were kind of a mess. And that's not like a dig on steel. It's really, let's face it, the 562 didn't really come out of the gate too good either. I think because there's so much technology and complication in all these saws nowadays. Yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of a learning curve. You know, I mean, each saw that they come out with this new design architecture, both companies, they've been through it a couple times, so there's less issues with subsequent models.
Yep.
But when you really break a new ground, then it's all.
Gotta reinvent that wheel.
We talked about that before.
Yeah. But they do have a lot of plastic in them.
It's a good looking saw, though.
Yeah, it is.
Oh well, what do you got to do? Replace the tank?
Yeah.
I got this. We ain't gonna have time to do that today.
You know, the old man glasses thing. I actually had it to the point where I could get it to pop by putting some gas in there. And I was putting some gas in the tank, and I just ran right out and cleaned my workbench because I had a splitting tank. I didn't even catch it. But anyway, there's a 261, and once we get this thing up and running, it has no time on it, even though it got crushed. We're going to start running that against the 555 and get some time cuts.
Against which one? 550?
Oh, the 550. 555 is not fair. The 550. The funny thing about all this and all this mod stuff, and Bob has said this for a long time, it kind of takes us a little while to get there sometimes. And after a while, after you've run so many different saws, and you know, it begins to get less.
The wow factor dissipates a little bit.
Yeah, that's what it is. The wow factor, and then you get back to the basics, and that is, get out, have a good day, get work done. Go home and have nothing break. And I wish you were here yesterday. One of my loggers, I'm not sure I'll put that on there, but he's got 372s, and I got 3 of them in my garage. And basically what happens is he's got a crew of guys, and they break them. He drops them off.
Yeah.
I fix them. He picks up the ones I fix and leaves others behind. We've had that kind of arrangement for a while. And we got talking about saws, and I showed him that old McCulloch, and of course he started giving me saw stories about the McCullochs.
Oh, I love hearing when guys tell stories like that.
But the one point he made, and it gets lost on us, because
Yeah.
you go back in time, he goes, some of those McCullochs are junk, he says. You get 5 of them, and one of them you just throw across the field because you couldn't make a cut. It wouldn't work. And he goes, but when they cut great. And he says, but in my world, he says, I don't have time. It's a matter of if it cuts, I like it. If it doesn't cut, I don't care what color it is. I don't like it. And he went from steel to Husky back to steel. Now he's back to Husky because one of them saws he got didn't work well or broke or something like that. Cost him time. Boom, out goes that class of saws, in comes another. Because they don't care about the brand. They really
No,
don't.
they really don't. All this stuff that we talk
They're
about.
tools.
And that's, yeah, the analogy that I come up with is kind of funny, but you know, you get 2 carpenters sitting together, they're not spending all day talking about hammers.
Yeah.
You know, and these guys, when they're not, you know, they're talking about like, you know, what's the price of timber, how many board feet did they get out today, how deep was the mud, you know, you know, who broke a cable. I mean, that's really what makes their world go. The saws just got to start and run. And you know, another thing too, and I don't want to like spoil the whole party here, but like for me, all this modification to saws we've been doing for the last couple of years, it's a blast. I have a lot of fun with it, and I do it for fun, but there's really no practical value to it as far as the work that you and I would get done because of the work that we do. You know, I'm not going to get any more, you know, it really doesn't, a couple seconds here and there. I mean, it's strictly for fun. You know, and I think you got to just accept it at that value and face value and not try to like, because some guys that are spending a lot of money to have saws modded need to justify the expense. So they say, oh yeah, that's great. You know, I saved 20 seconds cutting that whole truckload of wood. It was, it's, you know.
Yeah. Well, he kind of went into that because he saw my hybrid saw there, and he was like, oh, "What's that? How much does it cost?" And I said, "Don't start thinking about it." I said, "I could probably replicate one for like say $450. I'll buy it right now." "No, you're not. I'm not going to sell it to you." He's like, "Why are you not going to sell it to me?" And I got to understand, and this is where I was trying to get to before, and I really didn't articulate it well. He saw it as a big saw, low dollars. He's going to throw it into his crew. They're going to break it, and they're going to break it, you know, quickly. So
Yeah,
he'd rather have them break a $450 saw than break an $1,100 saw.
Right.
That's his mentality. This is, of course, after him.
that.
Yeah, that was after him saying, you know, the reason why that 562 is like that, the handle was all bent, the anti-vibe was ripped out, is this stupid guy. He cuts down the log, he pinches it, and he just pulls the damn thing out of the log, and he's strong enough that he breaks the saw. And he goes into this. So he's looking at the Chinese saws, and I said, "I'm going to sell it to you." He goes, "What do you mean you're not going to sell it to me?" And in his mind, he sees opportunity, cost, some level of benefit.
Well, he's thinking that, you know, regardless, it's
a
more
saw.
likely to have a tree fall on it than have somebody crush it before anything can wear out.
And I said, "I'm not going to sell it to you. I'm not going to do that." Now, first of all, I'm not going to sell them. I mean, that's another whole discussion. I'd let them run it, but I ain't going to sell it to them. That's another discussion for another day. And I said, "I'm not going to even put it on your crew. I got one guy with them. I'm going to stick with that." So he wanted to know why. And I said, because I know that saw in my world, I'll run it for a couple of years, and the kind of things that'll go wrong, the first couple of weeks, it'll be something with the handle, with the off switch, or something like that, and I'll mess with it, and it doesn't matter. You know, I'll just throw it back of the truck, and I'll drag another saw out and keep going. Same saw, his crew, one of his guys gets out there, and the pull start breaks, or the kill switch shuts off, or something like that. They all stop, they all try to pick at it, they productive
Nobody's
time.
getting any work done.
Yeah, and doesn't matter if it was a simple fix. They don't have time for it. They got gloves on. They're out in the middle of the woods, and time is freaking money. He's paying them. So there's no way that I can, in good faith, take a saw like that and put it in his crew or his hands even though for me it's perfectly good. We'll run it, something will break, we'll fix it, I'll cut more wood with it. It's the little nitpick things that you go through to debug a hobby saw.
Yeah, you can't have something. I mean, you could maybe let them do something like that after it's been debugged, but
Exactly.
it's hard to hand them something where you haven't found the bugs.
And that's it. And that's where I've got to on the farmer tech stuff. The farmer tech stuff, I've got to the point where, we're doing a pretty good job of getting those built and tested, and they're beginning to last. And they're going to come back now after a year or so. I'm going to get them back into the shop. I might do some subsequent videos to tear them down. But what Bob just said is exactly that. Is at least with the OEM, they'll come out of the box and they'll go out into the woods and they're going to work. OEM saw has a much better chance of doing that than the aftermarket saws, and that's a hell of a lot more important than I can articulate on this video.
The other thing too is like the muffler mod thing, which I've learned on a 262, for example, it's got a nice big hole in there, or so does a 272. Some mufflers are pretty good just the way they are.
Yeah.
They don't all need to be cut up.
Yeah.
Some saws like like a 55 respond really good because they have a real choked up muffler.
Yeah.
But a lot of like this one really didn't need to have that. I mean, it looks cool and it sounds nice, but it's kind of a fun thing.
But the bottom line is this: OEM saws, there's nothing wrong with them, and I think we overrate sometimes. As a hobbyist is going to do. It reminds me back in the days of racing. You get the guys who got the money and they put all this bling on their race bikes. Did they actually go any faster? No, but they felt good doing it. And it was worth the money spent. And I think that is really what it boils down to with a lot of these saws and modded saws is, yeah, they're going to cut faster, and on the pecking order to get together, having the right initials on your saw might give you more creds, and you might be able to cut a little faster. But the guys, more and more, the guys that I've been supporting this last couple of years, is kind of blunted the fun for me a little bit. I'm going to do it because I like doing it, and to me it's worth putting the time into the saw. I'm not going to pay anyone to do it, but it's worth me building my saws that way because I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy teasing Bob with them sometimes.
Well, like I said before, I have fun with it.
Yeah,
but as far
that's what it
you got to
is.
keep in mind too is like most of what we do. I mean, most of these saws we got are like for projects that were dead.
Yeah.
Which we've pointed out
fun.
before, so we don't have a lot of money into it.
Yeah.
And as far as spending money on it, I mean, I'd rather be a second behind in a saw that I built than
And
be a
have it
second
run.
ahead in one that I had somebody else do, that I had to pay to have done. So.
Say that again. That's an excellent point, and that's really the core of the people who watch these videos. I think is the same way,
Oh yeah, most of the guys that are watching this they're doing the same kind of stuff. We are having fun with it.
and it's about fun.
And like I've said a couple times before, I mean, some of these guys and they call the store and everything else, and it's they tell me what they did. You know what? A guy that builds his own saw, even if it ain't the one that wins, he's bringing more to the table than a guy that just wrote a check.
I agree.
So.
I'm in the same mindset. That's not to disparage the guys who build saws. They do a good job, and and
Well, yeah, and it's above what I do for sure.
yeah, and there's a market for it and there's a place for it. But in my world, and the people who I support, I have yet to have a guy come who has a crew of people or is making a living with a saw want me to do anything more than make the saw run more reliably than what it has. The only thing they want me to do is to fix it and make it run, and they don't want it to break because they don't want to stop, especially on these cold days. They don't want to be sitting there futzing with a saw.
It is so bright, I have no idea what this camera can see because the screen is totally blinded out, or I'm blinded out. Hopefully we can, this is awful beautiful country on a beautiful day in January. Temperature's going up to 40 and it is nice in the sun. There's just a slight breeze. And Walter's heading down there. Saw us fussing a little bit, and that's what we were talking about before, the fact that if it ain't quite right, to go ahead and tweak it with the screwdriver. It's not a big deal for saw geeks like ourselves, and most of you guys watching, really. I'm not really sure what tree he's got in mind there, but this is a little different for me because I get to be on this side of the camera for a change. definitely sounding good now. Pretty much there. I'm going to follow them down with my little 262 XPG. January, you got to run the heated handle saws in the wintertime. Nobody you can tell that, but like, you know, these hands have gotten a little too cold too often. And that left thumb is real sensitive to getting too cold. Probably won't happen today. All right, we're going to kind of work our way down there and see what's going on. Just kind of follow them down here. There's about 6-7 inches of snow on this hill. Key today is, even though it's not that cold out, you got to have the right footwear. Because dry feet are warm feet, and wet feet are never warm. So, whoa, I just stepped in a woodchuck hole. Hidden by the snow. Glad that me and the camera and the saw didn't all go toppling over into the snow. Could easily happen here. So what's he picking on? Oh, I see a tree that don't look too healthy. I think that tree with the dead top is the one that he's going to zero in on. Sure don't need a little saw to cut up the top of that thing. There is no top. This isn't too choppy as I'm walking down the hill here. Alright, yeah, it's dark enough now I can actually see what the camera's pointing at. We got him zeroed in there.
Basswood, the little holes in it, has a similar bark to the ash trees, but it's just a heavier bark. You know, it has those upside down Ys. But you know, it's actually considered a hardwood, but it's a lot softer than most of the other types of trees in this woods, like those maples. This will make it look more like those saws you see in Ohio and the Northwest, you know, where they look fast as hell when they're cutting that pine.
So, mishap number one of the day. This is a little bit what we were talking about down in the sugar shack, where you know some of these new things, especially untried, untested aftermarket stuff, you got to debug them. So is that maybe a spring went?
No. See, I think what's happening is I think the crankshaft is just a little bit longer, so it pushes the flywheel out just a little more.
Okay.
And it took apart the pulley.
Oh, so the starter pulley launched.
Yeah, it's the second one, because I did the highway part did the same thing.
Okay. So it wasn't the highway starter. It might be that crank is a little different.
Yeah.
And it's just going to chew up starters.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll pull the flywheel off and put it on the lathe and trim it down.
Yeah. That's not the thing the typical guy in the woods is going to want to have to do.
No. Well, go up and get the other saw. Yeah, that wind started blowing it back at me a little bit.
Yeah, it came right back on the saw.
It wanted to go that way. I wasn't worried about it.
So we're going to do the Oregon test here.
You know, that's a good idea. Let's just do
All right,
that.
let me get the 372, different loops of chain, and we'll play it around.
That's a good idea.
All right.
How do you like this saw?
That's running good. I tell you, you know what? 325, boys. A lot of people, oh no, you can't, 325 is quick.
Yes, it is. Nice wood, nice looking wood. Unfortunately, it's not a saw log because of what's in the middle. Right about this time of year, that hard maple is just rock hard. You know, it'll make the fastest saw look slow. It's all frozen, But this stuff here, it cuts nice and clean, and it'll make firewood. I'll come back with a tractor and drag out what we don't use. The basswood over there, it's just junk wood. We'll just cut it up. It might make a good test log for the small saws. But today really isn't all about that. It's just about coming out and enjoying the woods and having fun. Camera is on.
Okay, we're switching over to the new EXL chain now. Running nice. I'm gonna go. Normally, we think saw geeks are action whips, so we need small saws to do the top. But I'm just gonna do the top with this because I like the lightweight bar. Another thing we got to point out: how many cuts did the two of us make between the two of us? 10 cuts, maybe a dozen.
Yeah.
You know, and this chain hasn't been tightened yet.
You were saying?
No, putting the air filter, you can't tune these things with the air filter and cover on. So you'd look around here and you'd say, well, there's no holes for screwdrivers. This must be an early auto-tune saw. And McCulloch had the idea way before Husky did.
I don't know, it's probably more like an M-tronic.
The people would expect me to say that stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Make a couple cuts with this, and then we got to pick a McCulloch tree.
Yeah.
What's going on here is, this is a preview. After going to see Bob's lawnmower down there in Maryland, there's going to be a mini GTG with nothing but McCullochs. So this is just kind of a preview. We're playing with a couple today, but we got a bunch. Pro Mac 700s, Pro Mac 800, Pro Mac 850, 1010s, 710As, Pro Mac 60s. We're going to have a McCulloch day. It's going to be the Mac Attack day, Mac Attack Mini.
There you go.
We don't have them all ready yet, but we can't resist screwing around with a couple of them, so that's what we're going to do.
Mac and cheese.
All right.
You know, more in the Mickey Mouse chain sharpening technique. I really don't have a guide. I need to bring those rakers down to let this thing eat a little bit. So since I really don't have a guide that works in the flat, I'm going to come up here in the radius. See if I got a way I can get a little protrusion there. I can actually work on it. Camera is on.